Have you ever been abroad, perhaps sat around the pool and not been able to understand any of the conversations going on around you? On holiday, that's fine, isn't it? It's quite nice to be surrounded by a different language and culture. As long as you can order a drink and ask where the toilet is, you're all good. However, if you lived your everyday life trying to navigate all of your tasks without any understanding of the language, it would be a very different matter. So just imagine how children will likely feel within the school setting when they have little to no experience of English. Hi everyone, I'm Natalie from My Progression, and this video is about teaching English as an additional language, which is abbreviated to EAL. This term refers to students whose first language is not English and who are learning English in addition to their native language. This video will take you through the challenges these children might be facing and 10 practical tips to support them. The presence of EAL students in schools has been increasing due to globalisation and immigration, leading to diverse classroom environments. Schools may have students in their classroom from all over the world with a huge range of languages being spoken. This in itself brings about challenges for the students as well as the teachers in providing access to education for students with EAL. So according to the Department for Education, EAL is described as those who've been exposed to a language at home that's known or believed to be other than English. Students can come from a diverse range of backgrounds and for a variety of reasons such as immigration, refugees or asylum seekers. EAL students may face unique challenges, and the majority will face the challenge of a language barrier that can hinder academic performance and social integration. Schools often implement various support strategies to assist these students, including tailored language programs, additional resources, and training for teachers to better address the needs of EAL learners. How equipped do you feel to teach EAL students? EAL students arriving in school for the first time are going to be challenged in many areas. They will likely feel isolated, anxious and emotional, scared and nervous, and all the while trying to take in their new surroundings and trying to understand the information being given to them to cope with a school day. Trying to make new friends when there's a language barrier is one of the most significant challenges faced by children learning English as an additional language. Children who are not confident in their language abilities may feel hesitant to speak English. They may feel embarrassed to even have a go, and this can hinder their social and learning development. It's essential to provide a supportive environment that encourages children to practice their English skills and build their confidence. Children and parents arriving to UK schools from different cultures may have different expectations and attitudes towards learning. Teachers and parents must be aware of these differences and find out about these differences also to be able to manage and adapt teaching methods to meet the needs of each child. You will find that the children coming to you will have differing levels of ability. Some might have the basics down, but will struggle with the more complex words and sentence structure. And then you may have some with zero understanding of the English language. A colleague of mine was telling me about a young girl she had in her class who had zero knowledge of English. She was given a week's notice before this child came to her class, but she had some great strategies to ensure the little girl settled in well. And we'll go through some of these in our practical tips. For any child, change is challenging, but we need to be especially mindful of the change within children with EAL and be the nurturing and enabling tool to allow them to flourish. Each child will have unique and personal circumstances, and whilst children attend school to learn, some of these circumstances make the learning secondary while we care for the well-being of the child before they can possibly access learning. So here are 10 practical tips to support pupils with EAL. Number 1, smile. When feeling alone, isolated in a new and strange environment, a friendly, welcoming face who tries to support will definitely help. Even if the child can't understand you, a smiling face and reassuring positive body language will most definitely help. Number 2, pronounce their name correctly. Your name is your identity, and if they're feeling a little lost already, someone not calling them the correct name could isolate them further. If you're not sure how to pronounce it, ask them and write it down phonetically if you need to. Number 3, introduce them to the class. Telling your class a little about the new pupil and encouraging all members to take some responsibility and care will encourage a positive ethos and attitude. Ask the new student what they'd like their peers to know about them before doing this. Don't assume. Number 4, use practical resources where needed. My colleague said that her saving grace was the use of an iPad and the Dictate app. This allowed her to be able to communicate with the student from day one. She also used communication books and visual timetables. Now, these resources can be found online, and we've linked a useful website in the description below. A visual timetable will mean your EAL students will be able to visually be aware of their day, and this will help take away some of the anxiety. It's good to have some one-to-one time to explain the timetable to your student, checking they understand. Sending a copy of the visual timetable home can help parents support their children. You can have a word of the day on the board. This may be good to start integrating key vocabulary. Make it fun and involve everyone in using the word. And number 5, get them involved. Ask them to give out books, go on messages with another pupil. Don't overlook them and think it's too much hard work to engage with them. Encourage the rest of the class to support their new classmate. Is there another child in the school who can speak the language? Number 6, speak their language. Find key words such as greetings to use to welcome the child daily. You can teach the other children in the class some useful words and phrases as well. If there are other children in school who speak the same language, arrange for them to meet. It will be comforting for them to have someone in school to use their native tongue with. Number 7, speak clearly. So when speaking, speak super clear, repeat key words as necessary. You can encourage the child to repeat key words and phrases to confirm understanding. Avoid colloquialisms, idioms and slang, as this can be more confusing to a pupil trying to gain the grasp of English language. And if you do use such words or phrases, be ready with an explanation. It's raining cats and dogs might be interesting. Number 8, praise and encouragement is essential. We all know how important it is in teaching in general, but even more so with your EAL pupils. They need to feel successful and that they're developing. Number 9, advocate for your students. Be your child's champion and be behind their success. Bear them in mind in all that you do, so sit them at the front, adapt your teaching style to include them with greater visuals and support sheets to help them access the learning at some level. Now, this is where you can utilise your adaptive teaching skills, as their understanding will be increasing weekly, so you need to be reactive. For more on adaptive teaching, see our video link below. And whilst you're there, like, subscribe and click on the bell to keep hearing more from My Progression. Now, sometimes we make assumptions that EAL students are struggling academically and will be working below age-related expectations. But let's not be quick to make judgments, but rather find out what the children already know and what they would like to know, so you can really move their learning on in some way. And finally, number 10, work with the parents. We all know how much this benefits pupils, and the same applies to EAL children. Getting to know the family and gaining an insight into their background and culture can give you a deeper understanding to the needs of the child. The more understanding we have of a child, any child, will help us as educators to meet their needs and allow them to thrive. Now, remember that not all children have access to enough English language resources outside of the classroom, which can limit their exposure to the language. It's essential to provide additional resources such as books, videos and games that allow children to practice their English skills. Check within school to see what resources are available. You might be surprised. We would love to hear from you about your experiences when dealing with EAL students. What resources do you use? How do you plan for your EAL students within lessons? Is there extra support for EAL students available in your school? Please comment below. I know that some schools have specialist EAL teachers, which must be a fabulous resource. Children may go and work on specific language skills with other pupils within their setting, but not everywhere has this available. So you have to do what you can to support your pupils. I've been Natalie from My Progression, and let's keep your career in motion.